Welcome back to the kitchen build-out, renovation thing, whatever we're calling this thing. I'm super excited for this episode because we're going to be doing countertops this time. It's been something that's been, in the back of the whole thing this whole time, like happening in the background. And mostly silently for me, our stone fabricators have invited me out to take a look at the fabrication process of breaking down our slabs into the actual finished countertop sections. So I'm super excited to see that whole process and it all kind of come to life. Now a little bit of a backstory of what's been happening for this whole time. So the countertop stone is something that we picked out a long time ago. We picked that out before we picked any of the finishes for the whole kitchen. All the finishes are actually based on the stone itself. So we went out and did the stone shopping thing. That would have been December of 2021. That was after we built the shells of the additions, but we had to start on the demolition of the interior and removing the exterior walls. Now, unfortunately, when we showed up at the stone yard, they didn't permit me to film there, so unfortunately I don't have any kind of footage or anything of the actual shopping process, which is a little unfortunate. But just to give you an idea of what it was like there, here is a picture of the stone warehouse. It was probably 6 to 10 rows all the way down of stone, just in different flitches. They're all sequential, so you can see how many that yard has in stock, and you can get sequential stuff, and you can kind of go through. Everything's kind of categorized by type. So we looked at granite, quartz, quartzite, soapstone, marble. I'm sure there was something else I can't think of right now. But we gravitated towards quartzite. We didn't really see anything in the granite that we liked. The quartz being man-made was just too predictable and boring. And as we kind of got into the quartzite section, that really spoke more to us. One of the things that we were trying to do with the design of the kitchen was that everything in here kind of fades to the background and allows the stone to be the focal point. So we really wanted something that was really interesting and dynamic to look at. And quartzite really did that for us, and especially for me, being more into like wood and natural materials, quartzite was really cool to be able to see, like, you have all the veining and the fracture lines, and it was just a really cool visual image of stone being built up over hundreds of millions of years, and everything that happened to that giant block, or it wasn't a block, mountainside or whatever, over those millions of years. It was really cool. So being a natural product, that's what kind of drew us towards quartzite. And honestly, one of the hardest parts about the whole process was just picking the one we actually wanted to go with. It was very hard to kind of visualize and think about like how it would look in the finished space. And this was really cool, but then you see something else over here and you're like, okay, I kind of like that better. So it was kind of a fun, but kind of a trying experience to try and pick out something. Here's a few that we were thinking of originally. There's a few pictures of them that we didn't end up going with. As we spent more time there and we kind of went back and forth and looked at different things, we settled on the stone called Celeste. It seemed like it had a lot more going on. The original ones that we really liked, they were a little too subdued. They didn't have as much going on. They didn't have as much color. And again, with everything in the background being, something that fades into the background and having the stone be the focal point, having something with a little more movement, we thought was the better pick. So we settled on that one, and we put the reservation on the stone, and we got the little corner piece that was broken off that we could take home and have a look at for the last couple of years. So once I got the island in place, I reached out to the stone fabricators and let them know that I was ready for countertops whenever they were. And a week later, they came out to measure. So we had Greg stop by and bring out his laser and start actually making a digital map of the entire kitchen that I had put together.
That's good.
Sharp corner. That one to that one to that one. I don't have these radiuses in, but I don't want them yet. That little one to there, that little one to there. And then you got to pick on the end because that was the scribe. So there are only these little 4-inch ones out back. And that should be that. And then I have to check, obviously, on my verification. 16ths. Yeah. Here we are at 40. Nice.
And about a week later, those measurements were compiled into a shop drawing. So this first one here shows the kitchen area, shows all the pieces, the overhangs, and the seams that are going to be in the countertops. And in the kitchen here, we have just 2 seams, and they're both behind the sink. And then here in the pantry are the 2 countertops and all the backsplashes, and there is 1 seam in here. Now here is the absolutely coolest part. They photograph the slabs, and then they actually chop up the images into the exact sections they've laid out these parts from, so you get a very good visual representation of what these things are going to look like when they're all cut and installed. I think this would have been extremely hard to visualize just looking at the overall slab and kind of seeing like where they're planning on taking things from. Seeing things like this, it allows you to see exactly what the grain's going to be doing in those exact positions in the kitchen, and you can see how the grain is going to line up at all the seams. And then here are the actual slabs themselves with all the parts overlaid onto them, so you can see how they've nested everything together. We're going to head over to the stone shop and start watching the breakdown of the slabs. We're going to be watching the top one being broken down with the island in it, that huge giant chunk coming out of it. And then the other one that will be on display is going to be the second one, which they will cut after I leave. They have the first slab set up on the CNC. They're going to start doing the cuts on it. So we're going to take a look at that real quick. First process is going to be milling to make all the curve cuts on all the pieces, and then they'll do the saw cuts on the same machine. As I'm walking in, here is the second slab, which they'll be cutting tomorrow. We'll be taking a closer look at it later. Over on the machine is the first slab starting to get milled. We'll be seeing 2 CNC machines processing the stone. This first one I'll call the breakdown machine, and the other one is the finishing machine. This one can either use a milling cutter or a saw blade. Right now it's going around with the milling cutter, making any curve cuts or cutting relief areas so the saw won't overcut into an adjacent part. At this stage, they're making all of the countertop pieces a bit oversized, as the finishing machine will trim them down to their final size later.
loosen it up for me.
Now with the saw on there, the machine will go around and make all of the perimeter cuts. Because of the hardness of quartzite, they're making the cuts in 3 passes. The entire process of breaking down the slab took 3 hours, with the milling step taking about half that time. The guys in the shop were extremely welcoming and friendly and were telling me all about the nuance of fabricating stone. They told me that if they were processing this out of any other material, it would have been broken down and off the machine in about an hour. I knew quartzite was a harder material, but that stat really puts that into perspective. One of the bigger questions I had for them was how much water they went through every single day. Since this machine is spraying water everywhere, the other machine we'll see in a bit is spraying water, and there are a handful of guys hand polishing in this room with water spraying onto their work. The answer was they didn't really know because they have a recirculation system that filters out all the sediment and returns clean water back to those machines. So all you gotta do is line it up to the lasers.
Yeah. It tells us pretty close what it should be coming off the saw.
The saw it oversized then? This gets sawed oversized then, and then it comes back down?
Yep, it cuts it larger than it needs to be. So, because when it polishes, it's gonna take off material.
If you didn't catch that, they have a laser that casts an outline onto the bed of the machine, giving the operator an outline of where the parts need to be. The parts are sitting on vacuum pods that can be placed anywhere on the bed, but the laser will tell them where to place those as well. Now this machine with its plethora of tools will mill the stone to final dimension, add the edge profile, polish the edge, and make a relief cut on the bottom so that they all appear to be the same thickness. This is something I didn't consider about stone slabs. They can vary in thickness within the same slab or from slab to slab.
I'm Brad Norris. I'm one of the owners at NVR Surfaces. We are a surfaces company. We do natural stone, quartz, porcelain, granites, just about anything and everything in the hard surface products. I also have a bunch of tile setters in the field doing surfacing that way as well. This is our backyard of our stone shop, and you can see how I got remnants out here like every other stone yard out there. There's remnants. Folks will come and pick smaller pieces, fireplaces, vanities, that kind of stuff out of. Quartzites are the latest product that's on out there as far as natural stone that's coming on real strong. And it has a lot to do with its marble look, veining and such, but its performance isn't like marble. It can, some of them will need to be sealed, but a lot of them never need to be sealed. And they'll wear like iron on there. You won't scratch them. This is a gorgeous piece of Celeste blue quartzite. Haven't seen it come in this nice since this batch came. And that is the thing to consider with natural stone. You go to a stone yard, and if you see something you love, thinking you're going to wait and see what the next batch comes in like, you might want to get secured that one, because this 6 inches deeper into the mountain, what does it look like? Does the vein start to leave? We love the cross veining that happens in these products here, which Mother Nature spent millions of years to obtain. This is a very consistent quartzite that we look at because it got some evenness all the way around it. Yeah, there's lighter through here, darker and darker. I believe the other slab we cut for your kitchen, we had a dominant dark section through that one.
Yeah, we have that for the island, I think.
And that one we used the prettiest piece for the island, your most visible. But you can see where Mother Nature shifted the stone, and some of this is cracks in the mountain that water has seeped through, altering it with the minerals, and that gets you the change in color. And so you can see how it's changed and it's morphed over time. We get this one, I believe, out of Brazil, in which there's a lot of the really beautiful colors are coming out of South America. That is an absolute gorgeous slab. That one will take probably another 5-6 hours to run on the saw.
Yeah. So I am taking off. They're gonna cut that one on there tomorrow, and install will be in a week. But this was such an incredible experience to watch the fabrication process, the machines cutting the stone, and then that crazy CNC thing that takes everything down to final shape and puts the edge profiles on and everything. So crazy cool. I'm not going to be able to show any of the hand polishing, but that was going on kind of in the background for some other jobs. But it's so cool. I'm looking forward to seeing it installed. The dumpster. I did grab like the only significant remnant, so I'll have that for something. And what's also super exciting about this is now that I have this giant piece here, giant compared to this chunk right here, it gives you a much better feel for the actual final look and color of the stone in the actual space. So in a week, they will be out here to do the install, and I have a few little things I'm gonna take care of quickly so that I am ready for them when they get here. So I chickened out a little bit, and I didn't actually cut that scribe, because if that sink needs to move at all, that scribe is basically garbage. So I just installed the upright support, did all my other prep work, and we are all set for install. And they just pulled up. Okay, here's the first piece. It feels real now. Look at this. Look at that. I love this. Oh, the audience is here.
Supervision.
Haha.
You don't do a good job at supervision.
I know, I'm very bad at it. All kinds of angst and anxiety and things.
You don't have any stress going on right now. do you?
Everything can go wrong.
So, give me a good high boost there. Alright. The flat. Let me get back in here. Okay, now you boost. 1, 2, 3. Okay, down. Let's go ahead and get it. Beautiful.
I like this one. Sounds good. This one is a good piece. We'll keep this one. Oh, really nice one. Yeah, that's one.
You want a 6-foot level or 4-foot level or something?
No, I just want to see kind of
That sink gives me so much anxiety that it's
so-
not right or it is right. Everyone says it's fine. Greg was here, said it was great. I was looking at it yesterday. I'm like, it's kind of weird still.
Well, it's got these sinks these Shaw's originals are always so twisted and they're
Oh, it's very all over the place. But Greg's like, you got a good one. This one's like pretty good. I'm like, oh, okay. But I was gonna cut that scribe piece yesterday. I'm like, I don't want to do that yet until you guys are like, yes, it's perfect. It's never moving again.
That back is good, but that front left corner right here is flaring way up.
Yes. Yes, it is. That's why I was like, I'm not gonna mess with this anymore today. I'll wait till it's actually like a little further along.
Well, I mean, you got a little tip right here too that's kind of accentuating, but it comes up quite a bit though.
Yes.
You drop that, you end up with a bigger gap on that right side. Shit, it's just gonna throw all my stone off. You know, having this corner high. Can it come down a little bit?
Yeah, I'll have to adjust the scribe though to allow it to come down. Which we can do. This is just like, this has been the most weird thing.
You
But I
can't
have-
be perfect with something that's imperfect, right?
And that's the problem too, is like I've never done this, so I don't know like what is acceptable in the level of where it's supposed to be. And then everyone tells me it's fine.
Well, typically on
Everyone up until this point has said it's perfect where it is.
you want to find your two high, whatever your high points are on a sink like this, and you want it to be, you know, at the same plane as the cabinet. So that's your other high point right there too. I'm seeing just from eyeballing, I can tell you're here and you're right here. Like that. Okay, but you know what? Maybe we just throw slabs up there and see what it goes.
So it looks like?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, my thing is I don't want to put the slabs up and then have to pull them down again. But
I don't want you to either, yeah.
Just going off of this bubble now, I'm kind of thinking maybe we just let that slab rest on the sink there.
Okay.
Count 3. Yeah. 1, 2, 3. Watch your ceiling height. Make you feel like the weight of that. There. Okay. If we can do that right there.
Yeah.
Cool. I'll support this end that's high until it's flat. Sure. Okay. Ready?
Yeah.
3, 2, and 1. Keep the pressure off that sink a little bit. Okay. Alright. Yeah. Ready? Okay. One more. Let's
Come on now.
Alright, keep it rolling. All the way home?
Yep. Not yet.
Ready?
Yep.
1, 2, 3. See, we get that one in, see it all seams together.
So yeah, you can see you're touching
Touching
here.
there and then.
But you're touching back here too.
So I'm real close here and here.
Okay.
It's just there's gonna be some ebbs and flows, right?
As long as it's acceptable ebbs and flows, I don't really.
We're good.
I'm good.
I'm happy with it. So what matters is you're happy with it.
I'm happy. I just.
That sink's twisted. I mean, you can't get around that.
Hey, Greg told me I got a good one. I got lucky with a good sink. He said.
I don't know if a good one exists. I mean, they're so cool. Those sinks are so cool, but I've yet to find a flat one. The timing's off. We're waiting for the wheel shot. Staying on. Sure. Can we get it behind the sink? Yep. Boom. No, you got that knee.
I always tell them I'm not attacking them. As you're attacking.
I'm just trying to
Knock some sense. Talking essential sense.
Yeah, I think the slab thicknesses are varying. There's some variance between slab with slab too. You gotta have an eighth or quarter-inch variance from one slab of slab to another. It's a bummer. That's why we gauge it. You see that?
No, I didn't see that.
If you look underneath here,
Is that like those cuts, those relief cuts were?
see how this slab is? We're 2 inches back.
Yeah.
That's we have a milling wheel that does the edge, right?
Yep.
And then it comes around the bottom and it mills it. You feel there's no lippage there, right? Come over.
Oh, that's what those
Yeah,
were.
that was a big lip on that
the
one.
big one. Yeah.
Come over to this slab, you see that that's
like-
the difference of thickness between that slab to that slab.
I was wondering what that was. I thought it was like a little relief area for your silicone or
Nope,
something.
that's just our gauging. So then you come in. When you come in, you look at your kitchen. Your thickness is consistent
Sure.
all the way across. But
On the edge, at least.
yeah, I got some. I'm gonna have to shim that whole slab up a little bit.
Yeah.
So,
See, I'm pretty close here.
Yeah, that's how it's good. This one's a little bit like.
yeah, if you bring this.
Yeah, that's gonna come up.
So I'll bring that whole slab up kind of equally.
Yeah, no, I'm done with this.
How many tapes is one,
One
of
piece
these,
of paper.
right?
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm thinking probably about 3 gets me close. So I'll just reevaluate.
That looks really good from here.
That's perfect. Now we gotta adjust.
Yeah, you can feel it now.
Yeah.
That's what we're looking
Look
for.
at you.
Yeah, so you come down and
Is there any special prep you guys have to do on the glue seams on the edges?
I've already alcohol wet.
That's it though. Just make sure it's
Sometimes, yeah,
clean.
and I take that hand pad and I put a ever so slight little chamfer on that.
Yeah.
Because when our saw, you can even see it when our saw runs through it. It kind of leaves that dusty white look. Can't really get away from that, unfortunately, with this stone.
Yeah.
If the only way to do so would be to put probably a 16th inch bevel on it to get rid of that completely.
Sure.
So some of that, no matter how good that color is, you're gonna see some of that white line in there. It's it's just kind of the nature of quartzite.
Yeah. But it's not like edge prep you have to do for adhesion or anything.
Nope, just clean it with denatured alcohol.
Okay.
That's all we do. Yeah, we don't. It's porous enough to where it's hard, but it's also kind of porous. So our glues really, our petroleum-based glues, they soak into it pretty good.
Like you can smell it.
Yeah, it should give you a sec.
I got 3 kids. It's it doesn't matter.
How old are your kids?
8, 7, and 5.
Those are the funny ones. Just on time one.
Well, that's the thing. This
Let's see.
Mountain business, you know, this stuff down.
he can work wherever he wants. He never does.
You're getting greedy. I said, I'm still residential, predominantly.
Okay, all of the surrounding perimeter countertops are in, and they're just waiting for a couple more guys to get here to set the island, and that'll be the next thing that comes in. And that's probably going to be it for them today.
On 3. 1, 2, 3. And they want you to be on the back. Amigo. Up higher, up higher, up higher. Woo. Is this again an orientation, Matt?
You mean
We're
slab itself?
yeah. It can go 180.
I mean, it's whatever. You guys are the experts on what looks
It
good.
goes like that.
Well, you had your electronic image we sent you.
Yeah, I mean, it looked good. I don't remember what it was now.
You kind of got some diagonal painting like this.
Maybe there's one dark vein here. Personally,
Keep coming.
I like this stuff here.
What behind those two brass
Cool.
tabs? Got little
That
things.
kind of flows back into it right here.
It's the same. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Like a
it's
swoosh.
Maybe a little more.
Yeah.
yeah, but that's plenty of character here too
Yeah,
on the corner. I like that too. That's just looks good.
Oh, it's good right there. Yeah.
Lighter over here, darker over here. I would do that.
Well, hold on. Let's see. Yeah, 1 1/8. More than that. 1.25 inches. So close. I'm at 5/16. So let's go your way, like 30 seconds.
Pressure? You want me to tell you?
You give me pressure and I'll bump it. Okay, I'm an A strong. I'm an A strong. Now we just gotta let it soak for a little while and wipe it back off. You can kind of see it change color.
It's a little more deeper. Oh, but this is cool. All this ripply stuff through here.
That red popped.
Yeah.
The rust looking color.
I'm super excited. So here is the final look of all of the tops. And it just absolutely looks so different now. It's absolutely incredible. For securement, they came back after everything was in place and they ran a few beads of silicone on each slab and a few places up in there. And that way, if you ever have to remove them, it's pretty easy just to cut those beads and you actually lift them out of there. They're saying it's a lot harder if they set the whole thing in a bead. Then you'll never actually remove this piece if you ever need to remove it and salvage it or change something or whatever. So everything is sealed, ready to go. The next thing for me is going to be to finish building and setting the hutch cabinet here and the hutch cabinet in there. And then I'll come back out, measure for the backsplashes for those two cabinets, and do the final measure for the windowsill. So that'll be the next thing as far as countertops go. This is awesome. Good morning. It's been a few weeks. Greg was out about a week ago to measure for the windows and the backsplashes for in here and then in the pantry. I prepped the windows by removing the rest of the bottom jamb of the window up into where the screen molding trim fits, which is this piece here. And that piece has a little tongue on here that goes into this little step in here so that when the whole thing goes together and the stone is in there, this should cover the transition from the jamb to the stone a little bit. So my cuts on here didn't need to be super perfect. I just need the material to be out of the way. Okay, they brought the backsplashes in. This one seems to be trimmed down just a little bit to slip in there. The pantry backsplashes are almost all installed. We got all of this in, and this one here is just a tiny bit long, so they're just trimming it down to fit now. There's a sponge in my butt.
Sit on that thing.
I didn't even notice why this feels weird.
You gotta get that on your social media account. I got a sponge in my butt. Right there.
That's good. So unfortunately, the stone setup here for the front windows didn't quite work out. It was a little too high, the height of the riser, and the thickness of the stone they were both too great, so that they couldn't actually slide in there correctly. But we could have cut the jambs even higher, but then they wouldn't mesh up with the screen trim that goes in there. So they are going to adjust both of those so they're a little less tall and come back again and set those. But they did take care of the backsplashes in the pantry, and then this one here is ready to go in as well. And one other thing we finalized is the final position of the sink finally. So it is at the final height. The gap on the bottom is correct for the stone to go in there too. So while I'm waiting, I'm gonna cut and fit this thing finally.
Thin layer on that. Not scrape too much of it off. It's like, how do you get enough glue on it?
Well, you're the expert.
I know.
I know.
And I don't even know the answer. Okay. Almost been a mess. Alright. I think this one I can go unimpeded, so I can put this one on first. We're gonna right here too. Yep, I just need a little, real thin wood shim.
And here is that finished windowsill detail along with all the other details. Got the nice drip ledge down there. And everything else is fully installed. It looks amazing. It's incredible. Here's how things looked in here. There's that seam, nice and flush. I love this crazy like light band. That's the same thing as out here. The island is just absolutely incredible bananas. I feel like I get like a bucket of water out and toss it on here and talk about all the figure and things. There's all of this crazy rippling through here that reminds me of like a whole bunch of ripply compression figure in a piece of wood, and all of this veining, this beautiful red-orange veining. This just reminds me so much of a cool piece of wood that I would have, you know, out on the sawmill. And it's kind of funny now seeing our sample in here. The actual countertops, they don't look anything like this. You can't even get an idea, really, of what the final countertops are going to look like with this little tiny corner, because there's so much variation from this corner to everywhere else on all the other stone. We're really happy with our decision to go with this particular stone. I think it does a lot for the space. It's exactly what we wanted, something with a lot of movement, a lot of boldness, and a lot of character. I think it worked out really nicely. It's absolutely beautiful, absolutely incredible, and it just makes me happy every single time I walk in here and I look at, I swear, every single time I look at the stone, I see some new thing that I haven't seen before. So of course, a huge thank you to Brad and everyone at NVR Surfaces for allowing me to be a part of the whole fabrication experience. It's one thing to be some guy that just happens to be asking a lot of questions, but it's another thing to be that same guy that also wants to shove a camera in your face. So that is gonna do it for this one. Thank you as always for watching. I greatly appreciate it. If you have any questions or comments on the home renovation or remodel, whatever we're calling it, please feel free to leave me a comment. As always, I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have. And until next time, happy woodworking. Stone's kind of like woodworking, just diamonds instead of carbide. That's all.